Hello mortals. As I said in last video, today we are gonna speak about the most important system in the human organism, the vascular system. First of all, we need to understand that the vascular system is made up of a central muscle and a shit ton of canals where blood passes through. If you take from a person every single vascular canal and extend them through Earth equator, you'll probably see some epic discoveries. Like being arrested. But taking reality apart, all the vascular canals connected in one line would represent two entire equator lines. Blood is made up of four basic substances: plasma, platelets, red and white cells. First of all, plasma is a yellowish liquid that makes up 55% of the blood and contains everything else. The red cells are the most important cells of the blood. They contain a shit ton of hemoglobin molecules. Each hemoglobin molecule contains 4 atoms of iron that will oxidate when they have contact with the oxygen in the lungs. Briefly, the red cells are the ones responsible for you running during a long time, and giving the cells the key for the cellular respiration. Since they are made up of iron and copper, this means that someone that doesn't eat legumes and dark green vegetables is more likely to have less energy. Next one are the white cells. If the red cells were the villagers of the blood, then the white blood cells are the iron golems of the blood just because of their color. Briefly, the white blood cells are responsible for protecting our organism from stranger attackers. They have 2 ways to defeat raiders. The first one is the most simple and it's called phagocytosis. Briefly, the white cells leaves the blood canal which it was passing and eats the raider. Usually this happens with bacterias. The white cells will produce digestive enzymes that will digest the bacteria, taking care of it. However, there's another way cooler. The organism will analyze the DNA of certain virus and will create a recipe for a weapon that the white cells will receive and produce it. Those weapons are called antibodies and remember the shape of an Y. However, there are still virus that can colonize white cells like the VIH. The virus everyone talks about and the one which China doesn't want to have any connection can be attacked with antibodies. The vaccine is not a cure. It's actually a bunch of old, dead or weakened coronaviruses. That way a organism can analyze them, create antibodies and protect the organism, eventually creating something called group immunity, which says that a person that has been infected cannot pass its problem to the others because everyone around her already has antibodies. And yes, it's way dumber than just vaccine the people infected. But this is not about that. Finally, we have the platelets. These cute cells are responsible for the blood coagulation. Whenever a hemorrhage happens, they will stick like glue on the protein dissolved in plasma that will reappear whenever this happens. The fibrinogen. Now that you know how blood is made up, you need to know where does it leave. The vascular canals are divided in 5 types. Arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules and veins. There's also 2 types of blood. The arterial blood and the venous blood. Wait, not that venous. Neither this venous. Arterial blood contains a lot of oxygen and has lack of carbon dioxide, while venous blood is the opposite. You may think that arterial blood only flows in arteries and the same does the venous blood, but actually no. There are arteries that contain venous blood and veins that contain arterial blood. The definition of arteries or veins is created from the central and powerful muscle that pumps the blood to all places on the body. Now you can use this info for your advantage. This is called the heart. And no, it's not situated on the left part of the chest. The heart is situated on the middle, slightly curved towards left. And this is how it looks from the inside. The blue parts are not actually blue. They are actually canals which there's venous blood. In reality, venous blood is redder than the arterial blood. Now let's take a look inside the weird muscle. The venous blood returning from the inferior part of the body comes back to the heart from the inferior vein cava, the largest vein in your body. While the venous blood from the upper part of the body is delivered to the heart from the superior vein cava. This blood will enter on the right atrium, which will contract and send the venous blood to the right ventricle. What's the difference? Well, you need to know what will do the right ventricle. After it received the venous blood from the right atrium, it will pump it to the pulmonary artery. Thus, it's impossible to the same cavity pump and receive blood at the same time. Now you know the definition of an artery and a vein. The arteries carry blood out of the heart while veins carry blood back to the heart. Continuing our journey, the venous blood will leave the right part of the heart through the pulmonary artery, which will carry it to the lungs, where it will be recharged with oxygen and will get itself rid of carbon dioxide. After that it will come back to the heart from the pulmonary veins that actually contain arterial blood. The left atrium will receive it and send it to the left ventricule, which will pump it to the aorta artery, which will send it to the rest of the body. This means that the heart is divided in 3 different steps that make part of the cardiac cycle. First 1. General diastole. This happens when the heart relaxes and get filled with blood from both types and from both atriums. This process usually takes 0.4 seconds on average. Then will happen the atrial systole, where the atriums now filled with blood will contract and send it to the ventricles. This one is the process with less duration, on average 0.1 seconds. And finally we have the ventricular systole. This is where ventricules will pump the blood to the pulmonary artery and aorta artery. Also, when the arterial blood is pumped to the body through the aorta artery, he will come back only after 1 entire minute. And because of existence of 2 different systoles, you always hear your heartbeat beating twice. However, I know that you're testing it right now. Or maybe I'm just wrong. In any case, help me grow and reach my brother's level just leaving a like and subscribing. And remember, it's free. Now that you know how it works, test it on your